Sometimes the faith that saved you in survival mode can't sustain you in expansion mode. See, when you have to pivot in your faith, it doesn't mean that you're losing your faith. What it means is that you're outgrowing the version of faith that got you this far. Today's episode, we're talking about pivoting in faith and how you don't have to have certainty to make the first move. If you're in a season of your life where you feel like you are pivoting in your faith, you might be praying for clarity, but experiencing some discomfort. Or you might have some old spiritual routines that feel more forced and empty in this season of your life. You could also be feeling like you're doing all the things right, but it still doesn't feel quite connected. It still feels very disconnected. You could be someone that is still asking for signs, yet you're avoiding making decisions. Another sign that you're being asked to pivot in faith is that you're probably waiting for certainty when movement is the assignment. If you've experienced any of these signs, but you haven't gotten to the next step, I want you to know that your paralysis is not a lack of faith, okay? Your paralysis is just faith misplaced in uncertainty. Let me tell you a story about me moving to Atlanta. So before I got to Atlanta, I was living in LA for 6 months. My transition to Atlanta was entirely faith-based. I moved there with $500 to my name, 2 suitcases, and an ex. That was literally it. I got my apartment. I'm going to tell y'all this. I got my apartment by lying on my application. Like, I didn't even have a job, but I knew that I could get hired. I knew that I was hireable, and I had no doubt that I could get a job when I got to Atlanta. But I needed a place to lay my head before I got there. And I moved in, didn't even know the area. I had a friend go visit and do a tour of the apartment for me. And we signed the documentation. I paid the deposit and we left LA like that. It was so insane. But looking back, I'm recognizing that it was pure faith. I knew that I was supposed to be in Atlanta. I didn't know exactly why, but I just had this nudging feeling that that was where I was supposed to be. If I'm being honest, I knew I was supposed to be there before I moved to LA, but sometimes we got to learn the lessons. And so when I moved there, it was so tough at first. It was tough to find a job. It was tough making things work in my relationship. It felt so difficult. And I thought this move would fix the things that were wrong in LA. But it didn't. It really humbled me in the beginning because it didn't get better right away. It did get really quiet though. Right? I went through a breakup. I lost my dog. There were so many things that was happening during that move to Atlanta that I just remember how silent my life got. I didn't have proof that things were working. I just had this knowing that I was on the way. And I was really, really determined to make it through. So I stayed, I stuck it out, and I did. And I lived in Atlanta for 10 years. And it was such a beautiful transformational experience for me. In 10 years, I shifted my career. I made so much money. I grew a beautiful community of people. I found love. I became a homeowner. And my self-trust catapulted. It was such a dramatic turnaround from the years prior that I could only credit all of the work and all of the evolution to the faith that I had, that I knew this was where I was supposed to be. And I knew that this was going to work out for me even before I saw it happening. I share all of that to say that faith didn't give me a map. I had no idea where this ride was taking me. But having faith gave me enough light to always see the next step. And in this process, when you are pivoting in your faith, you won't always see the full picture. But as long as you can see the next step, you are on the right track. If this is resonating with you, I want to give you 5 actionable steps that you can use today to pivot to a more faithful path. Step 1, I want you to name what's no longer working without judgment. This is going to be really, really important. I don't want you to fix anything. I don't want you to pray it away. I just want you to be really, really honest and answer this question. I'm still doing blank, but it doesn't fill the line anymore. And whatever that blank is, just again, be real and be honest about it, because that is what you're going to start working with first. The second thing I want you to do is to separate your fear from discernment. Fear tends to yell, what if this doesn't work out? But when you have discernment allows you to quietly understand that this season is over, it's complete, it's not working anymore. Be aware that fear is very loud, but knowing discernment, that's often consistent. You just have to follow it. The third step is really where the paralysis starts happening. I want you to shrink the ask. See, a lot of times we keep asking the universe, God, whoever we're praying to, what is my next chapter? What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going? When we need to pivot that question and start asking, what is the most aligned next best step for me? Faith often moves at the pace of obedience, not confidence, friend. So you don't have to be sure about what everything looks like. You just have to be obedient to the next best step for you. The fourth thing I want you to do is move before you feel ready. See, readiness is emotional, but alignment is directional. And in order for you to have faith in yourself and faith in what it is that you're doing next, you have to make a move. That move to Atlanta, pure faith, okay? That was pure alignment. I did not feel ready to take on the unknown, but I did it anyway, and it paid off beyond my wildest imagination. All I did was listen to the call, and that was literally enough. And the last step in this process is to let faith be a practice, not your personality. Here's what I mean by that. Faith is not who you are, okay? Faith is what you do consistently when you don't have the answers. And that can look like showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when it's quiet. That can also look like staying in motion instead of spiraling and letting faith stretch in your life. It won't always be comfortable, but you will make it through. So just to recap those 5 steps of the faith pivot path, I want you to name what's not working without judgment. Then you're going to separate fear from discernment. Next is to shrink your ask. You're going to move before you feel ready. And lastly, you're going to let faith become a practice, not your personality. If you've been waiting on this message or certainty to have faith in your pivot, this episode is your permission slip. If this has made you feel anything today, even a spark or a little light, I want you to ask yourself this question. What would one faithful step look like this week? Not a whole month plan, not a whole quarter plan, hell, not even a plan for the week. I just want you to think about one step this week that you can take and what that would look like. If you want to, share it in the comments. I would love to read what you say. Friend, your next level is calling for you. And like I said earlier, you don't have to be ready. You don't even have to release the fear. You just have to get going. I always tell my clients, minor moves make major impact, because it's true. We're often ascending this staircase and we always want to know what's at the top. And if you continue to take one step at a time, you will eventually get there. Before we end this episode today, I definitely want to remind you, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. This season is all about pivots in your life, in your career, in your relationships. And today's pivot, like all the others, are going to help you go from the ground to the crown. Let's also get into today's card of the day. Now, y'all know I love this card deck. This is the Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle. If you haven't already tapped into this Abiola Abrams deck, I am going to shuffle the cards and let's see what falls today. One of the things I love about pivoting in faith is that it always increases my self-trust. Like anytime I act on a knowing, even when others don't agree with it, even when it doesn't make sense to me, I always increase the level of trust I have in myself. And I think that true faith, there we go. I think that true faith is just that, is increasing the level of trust that we have in ourselves. Today's card, man, I can't make this up if I tried. It is the root of earth, which is inspired action. Come on now. I'm inspiring y'all to have faith in taking the next step. Action. Let's read what this says. I know this is going to be good. All right. So the root of earth says, do you really want it, or do you want to continue to coulda, woulda? You must take advantage of the opportunities that are presenting themselves. You are in the beginning stages of something great. Be careful not to overcommit to too many things and too many people. Plant your seeds and stay grounded. You are a good student. Wow. I want to read y'all what this ancestral medicine says. It says, root of earth is focused and loyal with a sense of humor. No matter what, this ancestral energy remains unbroken. To honor this energy, stop sitting on your ideas. Take the next step. I mean, again, the cards do what they do. This oracle card corresponds with the Page of Pentacles in a tarot deck. And the declaration is, good news follows me. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I was in the middle of a pivot in my faith, if I was paralyzed by change and pivoting and doing something differently, and then I watched this episode, I would get a move on. That's what I would do. I'm actually in a pivot season myself right now. We'll talk about that on another episode. But friend, I hope this was really, really helpful for you. Like I said, this episode was your permission to have faith in your pivot. Follow those 5 steps, take inspired action, and you got this. If you need support, this is the work that I do in one-on-one coaching. This is the work that I do with the community. I would love to support you. Just say the word. I want to remind you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Every bit of support that you give to the podcast helps me grow and expand and reach more people with these messages. Also, the Glow Forward Retreat is happening this year. This is the work that we'll be doing in person. How do you pivot? What does it look like? We will share stories together in Thailand, and I hope to see you there. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on socials. My personal social media is at It's Kenesha B on Instagram and Threads. And you can follow the podcast on TikTok and Instagram at To The Crown Pod. That's the number 2, The Crown Pod. Beautiful friends, thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I can't wait to share more pivots with you. If you have a pivot that you're in the middle of and you need some support, drop that in the comments. I would love to make a video just for you. Until next time, friends. Peace. From the ground to the ground.